evening, guys. Tonight what I've decided to do is take a look at a watch I've had in my collection for a couple of years. It happens to be one of the favorite watches in my collection, so I thought it'd be worth taking a look at it for a video review. I've done a written review of this watch along with a lot of detailed photos, and you can find those on watchintime.com. So if you want to look up some specifics about the watch, please check it out over there. But as you can see, this watch is an Oris. This happens to be an Oris diver's watch. Oris is a company that's been around since 1904. They produce a variety of different watches. They're an independent Swiss brand, and they happen to have become very famous for their diver's watches in recent years. So opening it up, again, you have the characteristic Oris black and red box that most of their current watches come in. Inside, first thing on top, you'll find this full color brochure, and as you can see here, it says this is the Oris Carlos Coste Chronograph limited edition Cenote series. Now, Carlos Coste is a world freediving champion. He holds multiple world records, and Oris has been sponsoring him since 2006. They produce a watch to commemorate many of his world records that he achieves. This particular watch was released in 2011 to commemorate his world record cenote freedive at the Dos Ojos cenote cave structures in Mexico. Now, Carlos Coste is a freediving champion, like I said, from Venezuela. When you look in this brochure, you'll see a lot of pictures of his dive. This is a color picture of him in the cenote. Here's a picture of Carlos Coste himself with the 150-meter record that he achieved without any breathing apparatus through the underwater cave system. This is a picture of him during his dive, and then here's a diagram of the cave system that he was in. So, taking a look at the rest of the package, there's a tray at the bottom that contains warranty booklets and instruction manuals and things like that. And then there's this zippered pouch with the Oris logo embossed in the top, and some red logo zipper pulls. So if you open this up, on the inside you'll find the watch, which comes as a kit. A lot of the Carlos Coste divers came as kits. You can see in this kit they include the watch sitting on a bracelet on this pillow, and then they also include an interchangeable rubber strap, as well as a changing tool, which is a screwdriver. Also, there's this circular metal anvil, which helps with the strap changes. There's a screwdriver tip for the anvil, and then also two spare screws for the bracelet. So, taking a look at the watch here, this watch retailed when it was first released for around $4,300. It was a limited edition of 2,000 pieces. You can find them on the secondary market. You can still find some brand new old stock at some of the Oris dealers for considerably less than $4,300. But what this is a all titanium diver's watch. It measures 46 millimeters in case diameter. It comes with a ceramic bezel insert and a unidirectional rotating diver's bezel. The ceramic is done in kind of a brushed finish, and it comes off as a dark charcoal color, which I really like. The dial is also kind of done in a satin black or almost dark charcoal color. And you can see the different registers for the chronograph, the minute register at the 12 o'clock position, the 12-hour totalizer at the 6 o'clock position, and then the constantly running seconds over here at the 9. One interesting thing that you'll probably note is the minutes counter is offset a little bit, and then that there's these arrows or these triangles at the 2 and 7 position, and those are indicators of some of Carlos Coste's personal records of 2 minutes and 30 seconds breath holding during an active dive, as well as 7 minutes and 30 seconds breath holding during a passive dive. Also, on the 9 o'clock side of the case, there's an automatic helium release valve, and then there's a screw down crown and function pushers on the 3 o'clock side. The crystal is a double domed sapphire crystal with inner anti-reflective coating. The bracelet is also done in all titanium, and it comes with this push button release diver's clasp with a wetsuit extension. The links are held together by screws, and again they include the screwdriver for you to change these out in order to size it. One particular thing that Orises are known for is their interesting case design. Now, this case happens to be based on their newer Aquas series divers cases, but it does still retain some of the case characteristics that Oris is known for, including this particular lug design, where you'll see that the lug's spacing is actually quite narrow, and the center link of the bracelet actually integrates with the case, meaning that a lot of aftermarket watch straps, unless they're specifically designed for Orises, won't fit the case because of how narrow the spacing is between the lugs. But what that does is on the wrist, it actually narrows out the case at either end, and so it actually wears very well and is very comfortable. Now, anyone who owns any of the older Oris divers will see that the case is slightly modified from their previous divers. Here I have the original Oris Carlos Coste diver, which has the original diver's case. And holding them up side by side, you'll see that the lug shape is slightly different. It's flattened out a little bit more at the top and a little bit more angular. Also, the case side isn't quite as rounded as on the original. The case thickness is also a little bit thinner, but the bezel ends up being a little bit thicker. So, but overall, you know, again, the lug design still keeps that similar lug design with the center link that integrates with the case. The individual links on the Cenote have that same kind of angled flat area at the top to mimic the lugs all the way down. The bracelet is done with polished outer links and then a brush finish down the middle, going down to the brushed clasp. The watch case is brushed on the sides and then has polished surfaces on the tops of the lugs. The loom on this watch is all BGW9 Super Luminova, and that includes all of the white areas on the bezel as well as the outer ring on the minute counter chronograph register. So this watch actually has excellent loom properties in the dark. I'm very impressed with this watch. On the wrist, even though it's 46, which may seem like an extremely large watch, I actually really like the way it wears. Again, I think it's because the lugs are narrower at the ends of the case because of the way it's designed. I find it's very comfortable on the wrist. So let's look at some of the other things that they include with this watch. As part of this kit, they include their new design rubber strap. Anyone who's had any of the older Oris divers will remember the rubber strap that you had to cut in order to fit to your wrist, which a lot of people complained about, I think. And so Oris redesigned the way their rubber straps are made, so you don't actually have to cut this one in order to size it to your wrist. So basically what you'll do is you'll open up the clasp, which again is a push button release locking diver's clasp. So you release it, and then you'll see on here there's a little button that's sticking out, and basically you'll slide the other end in down to your size that you need, and then all you have to do is fold the clasp over. It locks in place. The tail is tucked neatly inside, so you don't have to worry about any keepers or any tail sticking out to get caught on anything. And that's it. You don't have to cut it anymore. So one ingenious thing that they've also worked into the buckle on this end is a ratcheting diver's extension. You'll see that there's two round push buttons on either side. If you push those in, then you can slide the rubber strap out on this end an additional about 3/4 of an inch to give you additional room for your wetsuit or whatever else you need it for. But it locks in place anywhere along in between as well. So this end you'll see does have the ability to be cut if you need to size it down for whatever reason, any more than what they already provide on this end. But I find that just the adjustability on this side of the strap alone means that it'll fit pretty much any wrist, so you don't have to actually cut the other end at all. Okay, taking a look at the case back, anyone who's owned any of Oris's special edition divers or any of the Carlos Costes will recognize this case back medallion. This features a silhouette of Carlos Coste in his diving pose. Also, his signature across the bottom indicates this is the Cenote series, and that it's also a limited edition. There is the limited edition engraved in the case back here. It's a screw down case back, and then the individual case number over here, which this one is 1458 of 2000. All right, so here's a quick look at the watch on my wrist. My wrist is 7 3/4 in circumference, and despite the size being very large at 46 millimeters, you can see that the watch wears quite well. I think one big factor is the narrow lug spacing that they use on the case. It allows the bracelet to almost come right up into the case and doesn't have the large lugs that jut out from the sides. Plus the lugs angle downward at a pretty steep angle where they meet the bracelet. The reference number on this watch is 01674-7655-7184-SET. That's S-E-T. The retail price on this watch is about $4,550. Check out my channel for more reviews, including the original Carlos Coste dive watch that I showed in this review. Alright, thanks for watching.